So this is extract 27 of Terry Pratchett's Truckers. "Start the engine," Masklin said, and his voice sounded unnaturally loud in the expectant silence. He walked back and looked out into the bright emptiness of the garage. There were a few other lorries parked against the opposite wall, and one or two of the small yellow loading trucks stood where the humans had left them. To think, he'd once called this space a lorry nest. Garage, that was the word. It was amazing the feeling you got from knowing the right names. You felt in control. It was as if knowing the right names was giving you a sort of lever. There was a whirring noise from somewhere in front of them, and then the platform shook to a thunder roll. But unlike thunder, it didn't die away. The engine had started. Masklin grabbed hold of the rail before he was shaken off and felt Angelo tug on his sleeve. "It always sounds like this," he shouted above the din. "You get used to it after a while." "Good!" It wasn't a noise. It was too loud to be called a noise. It was more like solid air. "I think we better practice a bit to get the hang of it. Shall I tell the signaller that we want to move forward very slowly?" Masklin nodded grimly. The signaller thought for a moment and then waved his flags. Masklin could distinctly hear Dorcas yelling orders. There was a grinding noise, followed by a jolt that almost knocked him over. He managed to land on his hands and knees and looked into Gerda's frightened face. "We're moving," shouted the stationary. Masklin stared out of the windscreen. "Yeah, but you know what?" he yelled, springing up. "We're moving backwards." Angelo staggered over to the signaller, who dropped one of his flags. "Forward slowly, I said. Forward slowly, not backwards. Forwards." "I signalled forward." "But we're going backwards. Signal to them to go forwards." The signaller scrabbled for his other flag and waved frantically at the teams below. No, don't signal forward. Just signal them to stop," Masklin began. Then there was a sound from the far end of the lorry. The only word to describe it was crunch, but that's far too short and simple a word to describe the nasty, complicated, metallic noise and the jolt that threw Masklin on his stomach again. The engine stopped. The echoes died away. "Sorry," Dorcas called out in the distance. They heard him talking in a low, menacing voice to the seams. "Satisfied? Satisfied, are we? When I said move the gear lever up and left, up, I meant up and left and up, not up and right and up, right?" "You're right, or I right, Dorcas?" "Any right." "No, but don't you but me." "Yes, but..." Masklin and the others sat down as the argument skidded back and forth below. Gerda was still lying on the planks. "We actually moved," he was whispering. "Arnold Brothers, established 1905, was right. Everything must go." "I'd like it to go a little further, if that's all right by him," said Angelo grimly. "Hello up there!" Dorcas's voice boomed with mad cheerfulness. "Little bit of teething trouble down here, but all sorted out now. Ready when you are." "Should I look in the mirror again? What do you think?" said Masklin to Grimmer. She shrugged. "I shouldn't bother," said Angelo. "Let's just go forwards, as soon as possible, I think. I can smell Diesel. She must have knocked over some drums of it or something." "That's bad, is it?" said Masklin. "It burns," said Angelo. "Just needs a spark or anything, really, to set it off." The engine roared to life again. This time they did inch forward, after some grinding noises, and rolled across the floor until the lorry was in front of the big steel door. It stopped with a slight jerk. "Like to try a few practice turns," shouted Dorcas. "Just smooth out a few rough edges." "I really think it'd be a very bad idea to stay here," said Angelo urgently. "You're right," said Masklin. "The sooner we get out of here, the better. Signal Dorcas to open the door." The signaller hesitated. I don't think we've got a signal for that," he said. Masklin leaned over the rail. "Dorcas!" "Yes?" "Open the door! We've got to get out now!" The distant figure cupped his hand to his ear. "What?" I said open the door! It's urgent! Dorcas appeared to consider this for a while and then raised his megaphone. You'll laugh when I tell you this, he said. What was that? Said Grimmer. He said we're going to laugh, said Angelo. Oh, good. Come on, shouted Masculine. Dorcas's reply was lost in the din from the engine. What? Shouted Masculine. What? What did you say? I said in all this rush, I clean forgot about the door. What did he say? Said Gerda. Masculine turned and looked at the door. Dorcas had been very proud of the way he'd stopped it opening. Now it had an extremely closed look, as if something with no face could look smug. The door had certainly managed to look smug. He turned back in exasperation, and also in time to see the small door to the rest of the store swing slowly open. There was a figure there, behind a small circle of sharp white light. His terrible torch, Masculine thought again. It was prices slashed. Masculine felt his mind begin to think very clearly and slowly. It's just a human, it said. It's nothing scary, just a human, with its name on it in case it forgets who it is, like all those female humans in the store with names like Tracy and Sharon and Mrs. J.A. Williams, supervisor. This is just old security again. He lives down in the boiler room and drinks tea. He's heard the noise. He's come to find out what made it. That is us. Oh no, whispered Angelo as the figure lurched across the floor. Do you see what it's got in its mouth? It's a cigarette. I've seen humans with it before. What about it? Said Masculine. It's a light, said Angelo. Do you think it can't even smell the diesel oil? What happens if it catches the light then? Said Masculine, suspecting that he knew the answer. It goes whoomph, said Angelo. Just whoomph? Whoomph is enough, believe me. The human came nearer. Masculine could see its eyes now. Humans weren't very good at seeing gnomes, even when they were standing still, but even a human would wonder why a lorry was driving itself around its garage in the middle of the night. Security arrived at the cab and reached out slowly for the door handle. His torch shone in through the side window, and at that moment Gerda reared up, trembling with rage. Begone, foul fiend! He yelled, illuminated as if by spotlight. Heed ye the sign as Arnold Brothers established 1905. No smoking! Exit this way! The human's face wrinkled in ponderous astonishment, and then, as slowly as the drifts of cloud became an expression of panic, it let go of the door handle and began to head for the little door at what, for a human, was high speed. As it did so, the glowing cigarette fell from its mouth and was turning over and over, dropping slowly towards the floor. Masculine and Angelo looked at each other and then at the signaller. Go! Fast! They shouted. A moment later, the entire lorry juddered as the teams tackled the complicated process of changing gears. Then it rolled forward. Fast! I said. Go fast! Masculine shouted. What's going on? Shouted Dorcas. What about the door? Well, open the door! Well, open the door! Shouted Masculine. How? Well, it didn't look very thick, did it? The world of gnomes is, to humans, a rapid world. They live so fast that the things that could happen around them seem quite slow. So the lorry seemed to drift across the floor, up the ramp, and hit the door in a leisurely way. There was a long, drawn-out boom, and the noise of bits of metal being torn apart. A scraping noise across the roof of the cab, and then there was no door at all, only darkness, studded with lights. Left! Go left! Angelo screamed. The lorry skidded around slowly, bounced lazily off a wall, and rolled a little way down the street. Keep going! Keep going! Now! Straighten up! A bright light that shone briefly on the wall outside the cab, and then behind them a sound like whoomph. From the Book of Gnomes, Exits, Chapter 3, verses 1 to 4. Arnold Brothers, established 1905, said, All is now finished. All curtains, carpeting, bedding, lingerie, toys, millinery, haberdashery, ironmongery, electrical, all walls, floors, ceilings, lifts, moving stairs, everything must go. Later on, when the next chapters of the Book of Nome came to be written, they said the end of the store started with a bang. This wasn't true, but was put in because the bang sounded more impressive. In fact, the ball of yellow and orange fire that rolled out of the garage, carrying the remains of the door with it, just made a noise like a giant dog gently clearing its throat. Woomph!